This meeting shall come to order at 7:03. Would you please rise and join us in the invocation?
God of the universe, we give you thanks for giving us another day. We ask your blessing upon this assembly and upon all who call your name. Send your Spirit to fill their hearts with those divine gifts you have prepared for them. May your grace find expression in their compassion for the weak and the poor among us, and may your mercy encourage goodwill in all they do and accomplish this day. As the mayor and council members of the city of Maple Heights face the demands of our time, grant them and give us all your peace and strength, that we might act justly, love tenderly, and walk humbly with you. May all that is done on this day be for your greater honor and glory. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Adams.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Safrati.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Brownlee.
Here.
Turjansky.
Here.
Agee. Here. Albert.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regular council meetings on February 19th, 2014 and March 5th, 2014?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Adams.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Safrati.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Brownlee.
Abstain.
Turjansky.
Yes.
Agee.
Yes. Thank you. Are there any communications?
No, ma'am.
We'll move to the department reports. We have no committee reports as well. The department reports, beginning with Fire Chief Jurcek.
Thank you, Madam President. On Wednesday, April 9th, there will be a media event with Firehouse Subs at the Firehouse Subs Restaurant at 6232 Mayfield Road, Mayfield Heights, Ohio at 10:30 a.m. The event is to showcase the Firehouse Subs Safety Foundation and the 16 ballistic vests that they donate to the Maple Heights Fire Department. This will be a joint event. In addition, Clayton Heights Fire Department and Mayfield Heights Fire Department will also be showcased because they received equipment. I know myself and the mayor will be attending. And the report.
Thank you. Chief Merritz,
I have no report tonight, thank you.
Law Director.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. No report tonight.
Human Services, Mrs. Volpe.
Thanks, Madam President. Soccer signups are continuing. The soccer season will begin April 26th. You can register. There's an evening registration tomorrow. In addition, you can register here any day, 9 to 5 at the Senior Center, and things are going very well. This is the first time we've had enough coaches for all the teams, volunteers that have come forward to coach all of the teams, at least so early in the season. So we appreciate all of that. A reminder that next week on April 9th, I believe there was a misprint in the neighborhood news. There's going to be a candidates forum. It's going to be here at the Senior Center. It starts at 9:30 with a continental breakfast, and then from 10 until 12 you'll have the opportunity to hear candidates. We have representatives that will be coming, candidates for state representative and also for the county executive so far. So we'll hope you'll join us for that in the morning. And lastly, we remind you that on April 12th is our annual Easter Fest for the children in the community. It will be held at Southgate Shopping Center at 5333 Warrensville Center Road. That's the store on Warrensville, right next to the Family Dollar store. It's from 11 until 2. And to the generosity of Mr. Chicken in Southgate, the children will be getting a lunch of chicken nuggets and macaroni and cheese, compliments of Mr. Chicken, and many other things. The Euclid Beach Car will be there. There'll be a magic show. There will also be some entertainment by Leonardo. He does some music for the children, and many other things. So we hope you'll join us and bring your children or grandchildren to that event. Thank you, end of report.
Thank you, Mrs. Volpe. Residents, citizens' comments, if you'd like to step to the podium and state your name and your address and give us a very short summary of what you'd like to tell us.
Bob Halen, 164, 226 Maplewood Court. I'm somewhat disappointed in certain council people. The vote for passage of the temporary budget, 4-3. Mr. Brownlee, I call that Mr. loosely. By the way, I would beg indulgence from the President of Council and Sergeant of Arms. I'm disappointed in a newcomer having misinformation. He's been here for quite a few meetings prior to being elected. This city is not $5 or $6 million in the hole, but you brought that up. Where did that information come from? Left field? The President of Council has more intelligence about running the city than you have in 1 month of being here. Your acrimonious, childlike outburst delays action on this city. The city has more important things than deal with childish behavior. Point of order, point of order. You're out of point of order. You could do better by listening than talking. A good listener, a good talker is a good listener. Pay attention. If you can't do that, you're a disgrace to the Marine Corps. You're a disgrace to this city as council person, in my book. The city cannot afford a recall election. If you can't behave yourself, why don't you resign and save the people some money? I'm sorry I feel that way, but I've gone after people that are liars, thieves, and inept council people over the period of years. I love this city. And I hate what goes on in childish behavior instead of running the city and taking the time and working out the problems of this city. You've got to have this non-adult attitude. Me, 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 me. This city is everybody here, not you. Contribute something positively, not destructively.
Mr. Haley?
Thank you.
Georgette Vidmar, 18204 Maple Heights Boulevard. So after a 2-month hiatus, I attended the March 19th council meeting, and I was eager to see how the new council was going to be interacting. I was appalled at the outbursts of behavior demonstrated by Councilman Brownlee. It appeared to me that this performance was self-serving and perhaps had a personal agenda. Was it merely a coincidence, or did Mr. Brownlee purposefully find fault with both ordinances proposed by Mr. Trzajanski? I was especially shocked by Brownlee's response to the library ordinance. Richard was proposing to name April as Library Month, and Mr. Brownlee voted against it. I was puzzled by this, knowing that the Brownlees take full advantage of utilizing the library programs as they choose to homeschool their children and not send them to Maple Heights schools. Mr. Brownlee, it would behoove you to take an objective view of your behavior and perhaps gain some humility and reapproach your position on council as being a team member. Take some time to learn the job and learn how to work as a group in the best interest of your constituents and the city, as your actions at last council meeting made you look foolish, and I was very embarrassed for you. Thank you.
Moving on to the legislation, please.
Ordinance number 2014-28, an ordinance creating section 1296-15 of the codified ordinances regarding regulations for the placement of permitted political signs in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
May I have a motion to suspend the rules and place this resolution on its third and final reading?
So moved.
Have a second? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Brownlee?
Yes, Madam Chair. I am always hesitant to limit people in any way whatsoever, especially as it regards the freedom of speech, whether it be political speech or not, which this happens to concern political speech. I would like to limit people as little as possible on their free expression. So I would move for that reason, and also for the fact that early voting starts before people can put their yard signs out, that we amend this legislation to 45 days prior and 7 days afterward, to give people plenty of time to express their opportunity for their free speech.
Is there any second to that amendment?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Jordanski,
No.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
No.
Jones,
No.
Sephardi,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Brownlee.
Yes.
Simple majority rules, 4 yes, 3 no.
Now, can we go back and call the roll to suspend the
No, you
rules?
got
please?
that wrong.
It was 4 no.
There's 4 no's.
You got that wrong.
4 no's, do I have them? I'm sorry, 1, 2, 3, I'm sorry. 4 no's means that the motion failed.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
You said simple majority rules, you said 4 yes.
It's 4 no's. It's failed.
Motion failed.
Okay. Will you please call the roll to suspend, please?
To suspend, Jordanski,
Yes.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sephardi,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Brownlee.
No.
May I have a motion for adoption?
So moved.
Second. Is there any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Jordanski,
Yes.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sephardi,
No.
Jackson,
Yes.
Brownlee.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yes. According to Blair, Melling's ruling, if the vote has 6 to suspend, which this does, and you need a majority to pass, then this becomes law in 30 days.
5-7.
That's right, but I have the ruling here in case this ever happened again. So you could look it over.
Yeah, we'll look it over.
Okay?
Moving on.
Resolution number 2014-29, a resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into cooperative purchasing program with the Ohio Department of Transportation for the purchase of sodium chloride, which is rock salt, for the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
May I have a motion to suspend the rules and place this resolution on its third and final reading? So moved.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Jordanski,
Yes.
Agee,
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sephardi,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Brownlee.
Yes.
Good.
Need adoption.
Okay, may I have a motion for adoption, please?
So moved. Second.
Is there any discussion? So you call the roll to,
For adoption, Jordanski,
Yes.
Agee,
yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sephardi,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Brownlee.
Yes.
Passed by the vote of 7. Resolution number 2014-30, a resolution authorizing and directing the finance director to advertise for bids with specifications recommended by the police department for a towing service contract to be used by the city of Maple Heights for all needed towing services and declaring an emergency.
This resolution is on its first reading. Would you turn to your expenditures over $1,000? That would be 2014, 36 through 49, please. Any question, discussion? May I have a motion to adopt?
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Bajanski,
Yes.
A.G.
Yes.
Adams,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Sefrati, Jackson,
Yes.
Brownlee.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you. Mayor's report?
I have no report.
Thank you. And moving on to council reports, that would be Councilman Bajanski, District 6.
Good evening, thank you for coming out this evening. Just 2 items of business. In years past, I've done a best yard contest for constituents in District 6, so I just want to announce I will be having the 2014 Best Year Best Yard Contest for District 6 residents. I have in my newsletter, which is available on the back table for the month of April. If you complete the entry form on the back or you send me an email, you can participate in the yard contest. The deadline is May 30th. The judging will be done on the weekend of June 21st, 22nd, and I'll announce the winners in the July council meeting. The awards go out for this year. There will be Visa gift cards in the amounts of gold $150, silver $100, and bronze $50. And with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Agee, District 7.
On Tuesday, April the 8th at 7 o'clock at the Maple Heights Library, I'm meeting with District 7 2014 graduating seniors and their parents for a roundtable discussion. The graduates will be expected to respond to the theme, where do you see yourself in 5 years and how do you plan on getting there? And I'm also raffling off 4 after-party tickets in the report.
Thank you. Councilman Adams, District 1.
Thank you. Police was called out in District 1 for a break-in at Stop One gas station. Garbage out of dumpster by Lee Road, Walford Apartments. This garbage problem has been an ongoing situation for at least 7 years, still ongoing. Also, I received a call from a Walford resident who had her garbage out early and not tied or in a container. With the high winds, garbage was flying all over. I stopped by and gave her a copy of the ordinance and she cleaned up the area. Fire department was called to my neighbor on Carroll over carbon dioxide detected positive reading. They arrived quickly and checked out the situation. Everyone is okay. Calls about potholes on Summit and at Carroll Lee Road, south of Turney, Woodbrook, Turney Road by Glenwood. There is also a sinkhole reported on Rowena. All we referred to the service department. I am asking for patience in this situation and drive carefully. Steinway resident called about flooding in his basement and I referred him to the sewer hotline. It was taken care of in an hour. I reported that the last council meeting about the low water pressure on certain streets in the area. A Summit Road resident had the water department checking his home for this complaint. He was told his hydrant was low, and this was due to the water main breaks on Rockside and Dunham. 70-pound water pressure at the hydrant. American Legion 309 on Broadway is having a fish fry this Friday from 4 to 7. Takeouts are available. So stop by and enjoy a good dinner. And I'd like to know, explain why I voted no. In my area, putting up signs for many years, I felt that 30 days was long enough. With the winds and everything blowing the signs all over, which I had to go pick up my signs many times. I thought it was efficient for candidates. They know when the election's coming, if they're running, they should be up and ready to go on a first, just like I did yesterday. Putting up candidates I support. 30 days, I feel is long enough, too long. So that's why I voted no. 7 days to get down the signs, I feel is way sufficient. I had mine down the same night of the election. That's why I voted no. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you, Alex. Councilwoman Tony Jones, District 2.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to give you a really short update on an ongoing problem that I have on two small streets that seem like they're miles long. Maplewood and Edgewood Court. I don't know if there's any other residents that are here from that area, but these are condominiums. They're actually fourplexes, and there's 4 units in each building. One of the units have the main water line shut off. And the problem happens when that unit becomes vacant and the other tenants or the other occupants don't know that they actually have to pay their water bill. And last summer we've had quite a few water shutoffs in that area. Mr. Halen has, if I could point you out, has a building where one of his units is going through a foreclosure that actually has the water shut off. So he alerted me to that last week. Did a little bit of research, found the attorney for the mortgage company, which is Bank of America, and actually had the opportunity to speak with them for quite a long time, explaining to them what I just said, and to see if by chance the bank would be nice enough to keep the water on and or communicate with the other occupants of the building on the condition of the sale and what's going to happen. So they might be asking for some information or a contact person there beside myself. I also had a few residents call from Edgewood Court, and it just rolls on there. But they are very nice to help me out in trying to organize both streets into a meeting where we could all agree that we do have to separate these meters into the individual units. And if that's all agreed upon, then we're going to try to see if we could get some plumbers or contractors out there to see what the cost would be, and then see what the cost would be just to share amongst, so that we don't have this problem. And it might be ongoing, especially right now with just the conditions of the foreclosures that still happen in that area. And that would basically be pretty much the end of my report, but I just want to let you know that I did vote to pass the budget, and there were some council people that voted no. Those of us that voted yes knew that come April 1st, the city would actually be crippled if the appropriations were not passed, and we would not be able to spend any money. We are going to depend quite heavily in May on what the city decides, and at that time the budget will have to probably be looked over once again. And stay tuned. End of report.
Thank you, Tony. Councilman Seth Brody, District 3.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As the snow melts, the complaints increase, which is pretty much like clockwork every year. And I just want to point out to everybody that yes, the kids are walking in the streets. They're playing basketball, they have loud music, and not just kids, but I just want to let you know to be aware of where you're at with your vehicles so nobody gets hit, and also do not engage anybody that you feel is like walking in the street or anything. Just make a phone call. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Councilman Jackson, District 4.
Thank you. I think a lot of people in the city have the impression that people at this table is an us against them attitude. And I don't know who us is. I don't know who them are. I think I want to work with everybody for the betterment of our city, and I would like to think that everybody at the table kind of feels the same way. But in saying that, I think one of the ways that that could happen is that we have some more committee as a whole meeting so that everybody can sit around the table, get their ideas and suggestions out, listened to by everybody. That's all the council members and the mayor's administration. And I think that's something that I'm very optimistic about that. And I think everybody would agree that our finance director has a monumental job of coming in and trying to look over somebody else's books that has been here for years, and she's trying to get stuff straightened out. And I think my yes vote on the budget was the right thing at the time. But now we're going into the next phase. And I think this next phase might even be harder than getting the budget together. And one of the things we really need is a completed audit, and we still don't have that yet. But in talking with our financial director, and I'm looking forward to working closely with her over these next coming months to make sure that the rest of this year we can really get on track and see where our finances are. End of report.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Councilman Brownlee, District 5.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In many ways for myself, this has been a long 3 months. It's been a long 3 months. It's been a long 3 months for many of us. Having come to city council meetings for roughly a year and a half before taking my elected position, I thought that I had a pretty good grasp of the way that people interacted, the way that business was done in the city. Sadly, even though I had somewhat of a dim view of it, I feel that now, having been here for 3 months, it's a little dimmer. It's more of an uphill, a greater incline than anticipated. About the library ordinance from March, you know, whenever I got home afterward, I was talking with my wife about it, and she says, "How come you chose to do that in the library one?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm probably going to eat that later." What I was speaking against was not the library, as Ms. Hodge pointed out. My family and I love the library. We use it quite often and promote its events all the time. What I was taking issue with is our wanton attitude to suspending the rules and putting something on its third reading immediately. That was my point. And that's something that I still stand firm on. And even more so after this past week. Because maybe you aren't even aware, but on Wednesday evening of last week, we had what we called a public hearing on the budget. Now, a public hearing is an opportunity for the public to make comments. Just like with our planning and zoning meetings, you're probably aware, they have to announce that ahead of time so that interested parties can come and make comments for or against whatever variance in code is under question. That has to go out, I think it's 15 days ahead of time. Do you know how far ahead of time we announced this public hearing for you to come and make comments on our budget? A few hours. We gave public notice in the neighborhood news a few hours beforehand. And then I assumed that we would show up to the meeting and we would have the ordinance on the back table. We'd all grab one, look it over, and be ready to start the meeting. We started our public hearing, started a meeting, and then started the public hearing without even having the ordinance in our own hands for us to even make comments on. So, for me, this concept, this idea that we'll just suspend the rules and do things as we want, when we want, is even more important, because we just showed that on maybe the most important thing we do all year, which is the budget, we didn't even care to hear your comments. We didn't give you the opportunity to make comments because we didn't even have the ordinance yet. So for me, that is even more important than it was to begin with, because I want to hear your comments. I believe that you have an opinion that matters, and I believe that we as a city, considering the path that we have been on for the past 4 or 5 years, that we need some outside input, because we have not solved this internally. I missed the meeting, the first meeting in March. It was March 5th or 6th, I think it was the 5th, because I was down in Columbus. I decided to pay my own way to a conference down in Columbus, put on by the State Auditor's Office. The State Auditor's Office deals mainly with finances, and I thought it'd be a great opportunity to go and learn some things about how budgeting should be done, the laws that govern it, best practices, and just to rub shoulders with people who had done this kind of stuff before. There was a lot of financial officers there. And one of the things that I learned down there is that you can and you should shoot to be as accurate as possible with your annual appropriations at the beginning of the year. To project what you expect your expenses to be, and then to appropriate based on that close estimate. And something that struck me as strange then last week was the argument that we're passing a temporary budget. We heard that came up over and over again, and you can watch the actual footage from those meetings online on YouTube at Maple Heights News. You can check that out, and you'll see something come up over and over again. This is just temporary. This is just until May. This is just until later. This is just until we find out what the expenses are actually going to be. Well, if you look, I hope these are on the back table for you. This is, finally, we have it for you. This is Exhibit A of that ordinance, our appropriations ordinance. And you notice what it says here, I actually highlighted it in pink. It says 2014 permanent appropriations. See, isn't that kind of, I think it's really foolish, and I tried to show that at the meetings to treat this as temporary, another temporary appropriations. We had temporary appropriations get us to March, we said. And now we just have temporary appropriations get us to May, we said. And then we'll just do it again and again and again. We'll keep changing it. It's a fluid document, they said. All I heard in those statements was, we're not controlling our expenses. Our expenses are controlling us. We're going to adjust our budget according to our expenses, not based on our best projection of revenue. So we're saying, well, if it comes in more, if we have to spend more, we'll just increase it later. And in fact, that's what we've done. Last year we did it twice. We ended up appropriating $800,000 more at the end of the year than we started the year with. So I think this attitude is detrimental. And honestly, it's not the way that I heard it explained from the State Auditor's Office and all the fiscal officers that I talked to down in Columbus, from the little townships to big cities like Findlay. And in fact, in one of the speakers shared that in his city, they shoot to be within 2% with their budget. They want, by the end of the year, what they estimated to be within 2% of what they actually spent. But here, last week, we said over and over again, we don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what it's going to be. We don't know what it's going to be. Really? If we don't, then maybe we need to do something different. Because other people are very capable of doing it. And they aren't going into fiscal watch or emergency with the State Auditor's Office. For us, there is a solution. There is a better way. There's a great organization. It's the Government Financial Officers Association. They have wonderful publications where they talk about the best practices of budgeting, of finance, of keeping your books, everything from A to Z. And frankly, our previous finance director, he quoted it fairly often. I have some of the documents that he actually gave to us last year from these best practices principles. The trouble has been not that the solution is hard to find. The trouble is that we are loath, I think, to hear it. We're loath to make the appropriate changes. But I fear for our city, because if we do not make the changes, if we continue to kick the can down the road, then we will run out of road. And there won't be much to do anymore. And I don't want to see that happen. So therefore, I would say that we need to take a very realistic look at our financial situation. And as I tried to point out last week, and you can see in those videos, that I think that our estimates are faulty, if nothing else. And I'm fairly certain, I'm not a prophet, but we'll see significant changes to this. And I don't think they'll go down. I think they'll go up. So that's a difficulty we'll have to face. But the sooner we face it, the better, because then we'll have more options. We've already run out of track almost. So if we don't turn back as soon as we can, we'll have even more challenges ahead of us. But we can do that. We really can. On Sunday, I went to visit with one of the congregations in my district, the African Methodist Episcopal Church on Home Avenue, at the corner of Home and Lafayette. Had a nice time visiting with them, hearing from people. They were shocked to see their councilman sitting in the pews with them on Sunday morning, but I really enjoyed it. And I look forward to seeing you all as the weather's getting warmer and knocking on your doors and saying hello, maybe have some of the kids with me, and we'll enjoy hearing what you have to say. God bless you.
Just a couple comments here. Number one, just to respond to Councilman Jackson, we do not have a way to tell the state that we want it now, we want it yesterday. We have to kind of stand around and wait for the state to complete their audit before we can move forward. But it's coming. We were told that it's coming. I would also like to commend our recently hired finance director. I feel that she did an awesome job in gathering all of the information. The stack of bills that she had when she walked in the door would have sent you and myself running, because it was an awesome job. And it does go on to this day. She has a good system going. She's in control. She's in charge. And from what we heard last week, I do believe that she is understanding the needs of this community and has a direction. I think you all know that I'm retired. My pension check comes in, and it's pretty much the same every month. Every month I get pretty much the same, maybe $1 different. And I pay my bills out of that pension check, or put something away, or spend something frivolously. The city does not work like that. The city does not get money on a regular basis from the county, from the state, from the federal government. It fluctuates. So when we say that the budget is fluid, that's exactly what it means. You don't get a set amount from the property taxes. Do you know how much we're getting from the property? We don't. It's an estimate, but it could be anything. So I also would like to commend the folks who sat through those meetings, council folks and staff, and to the folks who approved the budget that evening finally. And I'm hoping that we can have some good news. We can have some positive input, whether it's through dialogue among us or with you. I'm hoping that does come true. We have information from the community forum. I know many of you attended that forum, and we did present some ideas, things that were going on in the city. We compiled them, and they're on the back table. Please take 1, 2. There are also some answers and questions, or questions and answers from the RETA folks who are trying to explain the income tax that we have on the ballot coming forward in May. If you'd like to take a couple of those and share them with your neighbors, it's those are all factual information that you will see on there. It's not something that we made up. So if you'd like to help yourself, and we certainly will have that forum that Linda mentioned coming up where you can hear other folks. The ballot is long, it's very long, there's a lot on it, and we'd like you to ask questions and do whatever you can to find answers that will make you feel comfortable voting appropriately, or voting the way you feel you want to vote. There is a meeting, a work session meeting on Monday next week. We will be meeting with our MBIS, which is the Municipal Building Inspection folks who do our building department, who run our building department, basically for inspections and other point of sale things. We will be meeting with them on Monday evening, 6 o'clock in room 7. And I can't not tell you that the community garden is also meeting next week. It's a little soupy up there right now. Actually, I think someone mentioned it was more swamp than anything else. But we will begin, and even if you're not interested in becoming a community gardener with us, you might want to stop in at the library next week on the 8th at 6:30. We have a box load of free seeds that you can start at home, start in your pots, and we'd be happy to get them out of my basement. Thank you very much. And with no other further business coming to this body, the meeting is adjourned at 7:45. Thank you for attending.